Digging out of the snow is the worst. Dig your toes in the sand with a pina colada instead. Escape the cold and book your winter weather getaway with All About Travel today. When you book with us, you're getting a team of travel experts who can customize a fun-in-the-sun trip just for you. If you're looking for all-inclusive or perhaps something with a ton of spontaneity, you can trust All About Travel to take care of all the details, so the only thing you'll need to worry about is which flavor of daiquiri to order. All About Travel, helping you find your personal paradise.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second edition of the Coach Jason Fersdahl Show here on Big Sioux Media, brought to you by All About Travel in Sioux Falls. Check out All About Travel as they sponsor the Coach's Show here all year. Coach, congratulations, first of all, on a win on the road, conference win, region win on top of that.
Yeah, thank you. You know, first game of the year. I knew our guys were going to come out with a ton of energy, and I never doubted that for a second, and we really did. Start of the game, our defense, we were flying around. I thought we talked really well. Offensively, we got a couple really good shots to start the game. And our defense was pretty consistent all night. You know, we were aggressive, got out in passing lanes. Communication kind of lacked a little bit maybe the second half, but our effort was there. And first game of the year, you expect that to be there. You know, there's definitely things, especially coming to that second half, that we got to get a lot better at, and that's running offense and finding guys in flow and finding better shots, you know. But first game, Dakota 12 conference game, anytime you can win one of those, you take some pride in that, especially if it's on the road. So, and West Central, a Region 3 opponent, and they're a much improved team this year. And, they played really well, especially in that second half. So it's a good win.
Let's kind of break it down quarter by quarter. First quarter, it was a little tight, 11-9, a couple turnovers here and there, a little bit of jitters. High energy, like you said, but kind of almost too much energy to start off that quarter.
Well, when we talked about that in the locker room coming into the game, you know, guys are overamped. You know, you've had 2 hard weeks of practice going against each other, and then all of a sudden you get to go against your opponent, and you know that energy's great, especially on the defensive end. Offensively, maybe we forced some shots, and that kind of continued a little bit maybe throughout the game. But you know, we started off first couple sets we ran, we got great looks at the basket. Jeffrey scored right away. They came out in a zone look and only stayed in a 1 possession. And then we got a wide open look out in 3 the next possession with Jeffrey, and he just back rimmed it. You know, we had some really good looks, and the first quarter we had some looks, especially offensive rebound putbacks, that we just didn't finish with a little bit of contact, you know. And but our defense was there, consistent. We rebounded pretty well.
Second quarter, your defense really locked down until about that last minute. They only had that 1 free throw, and you guys went on that big run to start establishing that lead. A little bit chance, like you said, you talked about rebounding, double-digit rebounds for both Heim and Shook. That had to be really a positive for you guys, knowing that both posts came out with 11 and 12 rebounds.
Yeah, one of the huge keys we talked about before the game was to dominate the glass, and you know, we have the size advantage, and we're going to have that in some games this year. And even when we don't have it, we want to dominate the glass, and that was a big focus. You know, that second quarter run, defense was there, and we really locked down every possession and finished with a good box out. I really don't think they had any second chance opportunities the second quarter. We settled in a little bit and got in flow and ran some pretty good offense. Found guys inside, got to the free throw line a little bit here and there. You know, at the end of that quarter, the last minute, you know, where we had only given up that 1 point throughout that quarter, we had a chance. I think it was a 16-point lead at one point. We had a chance kind of holding for last shot. They had just hit a 3 under that last minute. We took an ill-advised shot that we talked about at halftime, and that we just got to know those situations and get better. And they come down in kind of a scramble mode, and we didn't know who we were guarding, and that's inexcusable. And we talked about that at halftime too. And they hit a wide open 3. You know, that game at halftime, we're holding last possession, looking to maybe go up 18, and we come down and give up a 3. And all of a sudden it's a 10-point game, and they had some momentum on their side. So, you know, those last couple possessions, those last-minute possessions that second quarter kind of fed their momentum going into that third quarter.
The only real downfall, if you even want to call it a downfall in that first half, is kind of got into a little bit of foul trouble. Rent's got some quick fouls in there. How hard is that when you're trying to put a new team on the floor and get them to gel in the first game, and all of a sudden now you've got to pull 1 or 2 starters because of foul trouble?
Well, yeah, we did deal with some foul trouble that first half, and then especially early in the third quarter, we dealt with more foul trouble. And we talked about that too coming into the year. The first game of the year, and officials always have things that they're going to really emphasize, and hand checking is always one of them. And we were aggressive and in position. Our feet were in position most of the night, and we just got caught with our hands in. And we practiced that a lot those first 2 weeks, getting those hands out, and we just had them in too much, and we got called on it, and that's the way it should be, But as far as getting different guys in the mix and dealing with foul trouble, those are all good situations we got to practice, because that's going to happen, and we got to be prepared for those things.
Third quarter, they came out on a big run, 17-8. They cut it down to a 1-point game. What was your message in between the third and fourth quarter to your team?
Well, the third quarter, first off, we dealt with some of that adversity. Carson got his third foul probably 30 seconds into that quarter, and Elijah got his third foul about 30 seconds later. So, we were maybe had a lineup on the floor. We didn't really anticipate a whole lot coming into that game, but we weathered the storm. We stayed, defended pretty well. You get to that third quarter, Miller kept hitting some tough shots over and over against Jeff. And Jeff guarded the heck out of him, and other guys guarded him well too. But he hit some shots. They found some guys open and hit some threes. We just talked about it. We had to weather the storm and stay consistent and run better offense. Going into that fourth quarter, that was really our talk coming in the fourth quarter. Keep playing the defense we've been playing, clean up every rebound, and then buckle down and run good offense when we don't have a transition break.
Came out right away in the fourth quarter, got a couple quick baskets, got that lead back up, and then you never really surrendered that lead. West Central, a couple here and there, where you thought that the energy was going to go and give them a run, but then you really shut down defense, especially inside with Logan and Jeffrey.
Yeah, our fourth quarter defense, and we have some experienced guys, and we really leaned on those guys in the fourth quarter. And defensively, we got back to that mode of giving. They got one shot, and that was it. And there was no second chances, and contesting every shot. And we got into some offensive flow a little bit in the fourth quarter. We kind of we got into some pretty familiar offense, maybe not some of the different tweaks we're trying to do this year. And we found some good open cuts, and we set solid screens, and we took it to the basket pretty strong. And that was a pretty big difference. We stretched that lead up. We got it back up 9-10 points, and stayed there for the most part. And then we iced the game. Carson got to the free throw line a lot late, and we want the ball in his hands in those late game situations. And he went 7 of 8 from the free throw line to ice the game.
Carson has 14, Mason has 12, Jeffrey has 9. You shot just over 49% total from the field. Your three-point shooting, though, really struggled Friday night.
It did. The first half, especially, and it really didn't get much better the second half. We were 1 for 16 from the three-point line. And if you would have told me that coming into the season, I would say no way. And we talked about that the next day in practice. You shoot like that, those are games there's no way you should win. You shouldn't win no matter who you're playing. And that's where we leaned on our defense and rebounding. And second half, I think we only took 4 or 5 3-pointers, and they were good looks. They were inside-out looks and open looks that we want to take and knock down. And our guys got to keep building that confidence to knock those down, because we got some really good shooters on this team. I'd be willing to bet we're not going to shoot 6% from three-point land anytime soon. But, it happened. But then you got to dig in deeper on defense. And I was really glad to see that. Our offensive struggles, but our defense never lagged. And that was good to see. So, again, we got to run better offense. But we had a lot of open looks the first half with guys we want shooting that basketball. Just weren't dropping.
That brings us to Friday night. You shoot 1 of 16 from 3 with the long rebounds and let T get out and run on you. It'll be for a long night, Friday night. What have you discussed? You don't want to say too much to the shooters, because then it gets in their head. But what have you talked to the guys even about rebounding those long rebounds to make sure T doesn't get out on the sprint?
We're preparing a little bit this week for T and talking about our offense, but we want our guys confident shooting the ball. And if there's an open look, we're going to shoot it. Times, situations dictate running, maybe a little more patience and whatnot. But if we get inside-out kicks, if we get coming off screen, kick, shoot, we're going to knock those down. And we want confidence doing that. But you're right. We've prepared transition defense this week. T's an athletic team, quick team. They're going to look to push the ball at every opportunity. So we just got to be ready to transition defense and hustle up and down the floor and find our matchups and try to make them work against our half-court defense.
So here you have the defending state champions walking into your gym for your first home team. We talked about it last week, how it's great to be able to play them here at home. what do you guys have to do? What are your big three keys Friday night?
Well, you know, it starts with our defense, and it's going to start with that every night. We got to get out. We're going to mix up man and zone a little bit, looks, and we got to get out and guard them. I mean, they've got shooters they're going to put on the floor, and we got to have good fundamental closeouts and make them take contested shots. And then we got to clean up those rebounds and not give them, a team like that with a lot of offensive firepower, you can't give them second chances at the basket either. So we got to be ready to clean up rebounds every trip down the floor. You know, defending, they got a returning All-Stater in Noah Fersdahl. And, you know, you can't just individually guard a guy like that. And you got to team guard him. And again, just make him take tough contested shots all night. So, you know, number one key, it starts with our defense. Number two, you know, we've got a little size advantage on them. And we've got to work the ball in the post. And we've got to finish strong around the basket. And also clean up those rebounds. You know, everybody team rebound. And number three, we just got to get an offensive flow. We worked on that a lot this week, of getting that ball moving, finding the open guy, making that extra pass, and then knocking down those shots. And we do that, our shooting percentage is going to go up and up. And we got to do that all game long. So we got to defend them for 32 minutes. There's no doubt about that.
So when you have a team like T that steps in here, as a coach, do you want to face the defending state champion early in the season? You know, where everybody's still trying to kick the rust off. You want to see them late in the season where you've got more film on them. When do you really want to see a team like that?
You know, T returns a lot of guys from last year, returning 4 starters. So as far as personnel, we're pretty familiar with them. You know, I don't know, early in the season, late in the season, I don't know if it matters. You got high quality competition, and we see that in our conference night in, night out. So, you know, we look at it as a great early season opportunity, a great early season test to see where we're at and where we want to be. We think we're capable of beating the top teams in the state, and we got a great opportunity to do that here Friday night.
Let's talk about Fersdahl a little bit, and just in general, when you face a team that has somebody like a Fersdahl, or when you get over and have to start playing a Madison and they're going to have a big post in Fegan or something like that, do you sit there and game plan for that one kid and say, okay, we're going to let the rest of them try and beat us? Or how do you try and figure that out to stop somebody of that caliber?
You know, you talk about a T, I guess that's our focus here is Friday night. They've got a whole lot of weapons on the offensive end, so you can't really just try to take one guy away and let everybody else go, because they're going to knock down shots and they're going to beat the heck out of you. So, you know, we've talked about kind of how we want to guard a little bit in our man and our zone. But the bottom line is you can't sag off of anybody. You can't give anybody open shots with guys that they're going to put on the floor. So, you know, it's team guarding every one of them. And a player like Noah, great player, and he might score. He had 32 points against Dakota Valley. He might score 30 plus again. We just want to make him really work for those shots and make him take contested shots over and over and not give him second chances. It's team guarding all of them. So, you know, we got to guard everybody on the floor. There's no doubt about that, and we got to trust that our guys are going to make everybody work for anything they get.
Well, it should be a full house. It should be a packed house. It's a doubleheader, so the girls get to play first. So you'll be on there a little bit later. But good luck to you Friday night, and we'll talk to you next week about the results of what happened.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We're looking forward to our home opener.
All right. That's Coach Jason Fersdahl here on the Jason Fersdahl Show, brought to you by All About Travel. We want to thank the coach. We will be back next week with the Week 3 show. We'll talk about this and upcoming events. Thank you. Have a great night.
Digging out of the snow is the worst. Dig your toes in the sand with a pina colada instead. Escape the cold and book your winter weather getaway with All About Travel today. When you book with us, you're getting a team of travel experts who can customize a fun-in-the-sun trip just for you. If you're looking for all-inclusive or perhaps something with a ton of spontaneity, you can trust All About Travel to take care of all the details, so the only thing you'll need to worry about is which flavor of daiquiri to order. All About Travel, helping you find your personal paradise.